He was her instructor, a hardened veteran who taught her the unforgiving rules of sniping. Rule number 1: snipers don't cry. Emotions are a luxury you can't afford when a single heartbeat can mean the difference between life and death. Crying blurs your vision, shakes your hands, and gets you killed. She listened, she learned, she pushed down every tear and became one of the best. They called her Ice Queen on the range, her shots as cold and precise as her demeanor. He was proud of her, the perfect student. Then came the deployment, the dust, the heat, the constant tension. It was a world away from the training grounds. They were a team, watching each other's backs from a dusty perch overlooking a volatile street. Days bled into weeks. The rule was their mantra. Snipers don't cry. They observed, they reported, they waited. Their bond wasn't one of words, but of shared silence and the silent understanding of their deadly craft. They were ghosts, their only job to watch and, if necessary, to act with chilling finality. The call came on a sweltering afternoon. A high-value target was on the move, surrounded by heavy security. It was the mission they'd been waiting for, the kind that could change the course of the conflict. They set up, their movements a silent, practiced ballet. He was the spotter, she was the shooter. His voice was calm in her ear, feeding her data-wind speed, distance, elevation. The world narrowed to the circle of her scope. She found the target, her breath steady, her finger resting on the trigger. Suddenly, everything went wrong. An explosion rocked their position from an unseen enemy. Debris rained down. The world became a whirlwind of smoke, fire, and screams. When the dust settled, she looked over. He was down, hit badly, bleeding out on the rooftop. His calm voice in her ear was replaced by a pained gasp. Panic, cold and sharp, threatened to overwhelm her. Enemies were closing in, their shouts growing louder. She could see them advancing through her scope. Her training screamed at her, "Stay calm, eliminate the threats." But her heart screamed something else. This wasn't a target in her sights. It was her mentor, her partner, the man who had made her who she was, and he was dying. Tears started to well up, hot and fast. His own rule echoed in her mind. Snipers don't cry, but they were streaming down her face now, blurring the image in her scope, turning the advancing enemies into watery shapes. She was breaking the first and most important rule. Then she heard his voice, weak and strained, through the "Comes Ice Queen." "They don't cry, ... but you. You can." It was permission, it was trust, it was everything. With that, something shifted. The tears didn't stop, but they no longer felt like a weakness. They were fuel. She wiped her eyes with the back of her glove, took a shaky breath, and looked through the scope again. The world was still blurry, a mess of distorted light and color. But she didn't need perfect clarity. She knew her rifle, knew the distance, knew her enemies. She fired once, twice, 3 times. Each shot was a prayer, a roar of defiance against the rule that had defined her. She fired through the curtain of her tears, each trigger pull a testament to the man lying beside her. The advancing figures fell. Silence returned to the rooftop, broken only by her ragged breaths and his shallow ones. She scrambled to his side, applying pressure to the wound, her tears now mixing with the dust and blood on her hands. She saved him, not as a sniper, not as the Ice Queen, but as a person who dared to feel. He had taught her that snipers don't cry. But on that rooftop, under the scorching sun, he learned from her that sometimes sometimes it's the only thing that lets you see clearly enough to save a life. Thank you for watching. If you are moved by this story, please like, share, and subscribe for more content just like this. See you next time.